Hello everybody, it's Brian for GadgetUnit.com, and in this video I'll be taking a look at the Microsoft Lumia 640 for T-Mobile. You can pick this up for just $99.76 from Walmart, or you can get it straight from T-Mobile for $129.84 or for $541 per month for 24 months. The Microsoft Store also has it for $129. I would also like to thank Microsoft for sending this over to me for review. You'll find a full list of specs in the written review that's linked down below in this video's description. So let's start out with the design and hardware. The T-Mobile model of the Lumia 640 is only available in a white back, but there are accessories available if you'd like to change the color up just a little bit. I would recommend getting a case that would add more grip because in most situations, while the 640 is fine, it can still be fairly slippery at times. With the white back comes black buttons and a black front, giving the 640 what I call the Oreo look. And I really like it. These are two of the most neutral colors that work well in any situation. And the design overall is very simple in an elegant way, consisting of very clean lines and subtle curves. The only physical buttons are on the right side, which include a volume up and down rocker as well as the power button. Because the volume buttons are combined into one longer button, the power button has always been easy to find, and all three of the buttons have an adequate amount of feedback when being pressed. On the bottom is your micro USB 2.0 port, while the top has your lone 3.5mm headset jack. While I prefer having them both on the same side, it's not too much of a deal breaker. On the back is the 8-megapixel rear-facing camera, circular LED flash, some Microsoft branding, as well as a small speaker. On the front you have your 5-inch 720 by 1280 display, earpiece, and the 0.9-megapixel front-facing camera. So despite its slippery feel and plastic body, the Lumia 640 generally feels fairly solid, though sometimes the back cover can peel back just a tad, primarily in the top two corners. Otherwise, it's very comfortable to use and is easy to hold with one hand. While the speaker isn't the best in the world, it's still more than adequate for speakerphone calls and brief periods of listening to music. It can get pretty loud, and even at the maximum volume it doesn't distort or sound terrible in any way. In terms of the actual audio quality, it's mostly on the clear side of things, but it could be a little bit better. But overall, it gets the job done just fine. Bright and clear, the Lumia 640's display is one of the better ones found in a sub $130 smartphone. Its viewing angles are quite good, responsiveness is just fine, the colors aren't overdone and look about right, the maximum brightness can get quite high, and it's viewable outdoors just fine. The 640 runs the latest version of Windows for phones, which is 8.1 Update 2, with an update to Windows Phone 10 coming later this year. I've always been a fan of Windows Phone, and it just disturbs me that developers still aren't bringing their apps over to the platform. Without your apps, people aren't going to come over, so somebody has to take the step forward. Still, Windows Phone on the Lumia 640 is fun to use, mainly due to the software's modern and alternative smartphone interface. You can take a look at the clips now to see what it's all about, but the best way to experience Windows Phone is to, of course, go to a store or any place that has demo units for Windows Phones and try it out for a while. You might be surprised by how well Windows Phone might work for you. The Windows Phone App Store still isn't quite there in terms of comparing to iOS and Android, but there's still a good chance that you'll find apps that you want. Performance has always been one of Windows Phone's stronger points. So the animations are fluid, applications open quickly, and everything just feels like you would expect from a more powerful device. I never once felt myself wishing that the device had faster internal specs because everything worked rather well. Games also performed better than expected. Like performance, battery life has always been one of Windows Phone's better perks. In my usage, I've been able to get through 2 to 3 days with light to moderate usage just fine, with plenty of background notifications coming in. Mainly over LTE, but Wi-Fi does add a bit to the battery life. There's also a power saving mode, which can definitely help. But if you're on the heavy side of things, like any other smartphone, it will probably last a day or two. Now if you do use this phone lightly, you should be able to get past the 3-day mark, which is pretty good. Call quality out of the front earpiece is just fine, though it could be a tad clearer, even for non-HD voice calls. Speaking of which, HD voice calls did sound quite good. The Lumia 640 does support voice over LTE in addition to Wi-Fi calling, both of which worked fine. The 640 also held on to low signals just fine on T-Mobile, which is better than other smartphones for T-Mobile that I've used, including the iPhone 6 Plus. Also, unlike the iPhone 6 Plus, the Lumia 640 does support Band 12 LTE. If you live in an area where T-Mobile has deployed this, you could be getting better signal strength indoors and in rural areas. So in a way, having this frequency does sort of future-proof your phone for at least 2 to 3 years. Also, LTE data performance was just what I would come to expect for my area, which is to say very good. Lastly, we have the camera. While it's obviously not as good as more expensive devices, it does much better than a device with this price actually should. The Lumia camera app is what you'll be using to take photos and videos, but other apps are available. It can be simple if you just want to take basic photos and videos. But you can also customize the options with manual controls such as white balance and things. Photos don't take much time at all to take, and quality afterwards resulted in relatively good colors, though crisp details were a bit soft. Full HD videos were in the same boat, though they could have benefited from some sort of video stabilization. Audio quality is fine, but no matter how you look at it, the camera performs strongly for its price. Now to conclude, without a doubt for the price, the Lumia 640 is a very strong performer in nearly all respects. Even where it falls short, it only does so by just a little bit. If you're looking to get a quality smartphone experience without breaking the bank, the Lumia 640 is the one to consider. Windows Phone is quite a bit better than most people think, and it might actually work out for you if you're coming from Android or iOS. That's it with this video. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback about this or anything else, feel free to leave everything down below in the comments area. But that's it with the video, so thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you all very soon.